It's Tuesday morning, and we've a full lineup for you today. Here's what's coming up.
Today, Brian Holman visits with a first-generation farmer from Johnson County. Find out how the city boy got his start and how he balances a cow-calf operation with a fruit tree orchard and specialty vegetables grown in high tunnels. Next, Brian's off to Manhattan for a tour of the Little Apple Brewing Company. Learn how this restaurant's emphasis on certified Angus beef led to the National Beef Backer Award. Then on our Healthy Yard segment, find out the benefits of growing your own vegetables vertically. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. Crop News brought to you by the Kansas Association of Wheat Growers and Kansas Wheat Commission. Together, we are Kansas Wheat.
Frank, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, tell us how you got started, because you're very diverse.
Very diverse. First generation farmer, grew up in town. Kind of unusual to actually have the opportunity, for one, to get started in farming. In high school, I worked for a farmer outside of town. I was interested in animals and the outdoors, more so than sports, like many kids are. And he was a great help to me to get started farming. We traded labor. I worked for him, and he let me use some equipment. And we got fairly good size hog operation and livestock cow-calf operation. And decided, my wife and I, we built this house here about 15 years ago, that we would plant some trees. I had grown up in town. My dad was a builder. Never lived in any house over a year or two. Never had a tree, much more than just freshly balled and set in the front yard. So I wanted trees in my yard, and as you can see, I have quite a few. But I always wanted to raise fruit trees. And we planted a few, and then it was like, well, it's kind of like livestock. If you've got one cow to take care of, and you just will have 50 or 100, you still got to be there morning and night. So kind of the same way with the trees. If you're going to take care of 5 or 10, why not, 500? And it was a way for my wife and I to diversify in something that was basically my wife and I's venture, rather than the farming operation, which I farm with my father also. So we decided to plant some fruit trees, and we thought that July and August is typically a slow time for most farmers. The crops are laid by, your hay's typically put up by then. So peaches that ripen in July and August, sweet corn, tomatoes, which we also raise and sell here, were a good fit for us. Then by about Labor Day, we're pretty well, wrapping things up and can get started in fall harvest. That's kind of how we got started, and we continue to grow. The produce line, our sideline, has gotten to be less of a sideline and more of a major operation for us, as well as our conventional farming.
We got to see some guys working on a high tunnel. It looks like you have 3 or 4 of those already put up. Vegetables, why vegetables?
The tomatoes, or any vegetable really that you want to grow in these high tunnels, do so much better under plastic than they do outside. We had tried to raise some outside produce, and it seemed like we've always had fits with the weather, too wet.
Sure.
And so the high tunnels let us produce a high value crop such as tomatoes with relatively little care, and we can take the environment out of the equation, so we're not battling too hot, too dry, too much rain. So they've worked real well for us. Anything that grows outside will do twice as well inside.
And you get a lot of people coming to the farm to pick their own, I'm assuming, or do you pick and take to the produce?
We do some of both. We generally do pick your own on fresh berries. We have outside blackberries, raspberries. We do fresh picking on peaches, but not so much the tomatoes. They're kind of in a pretty tight, confined environment, and I'm assuming that we've not had much request for that, so I don't think that's a real high demand thing to come pick your own tomatoes.
Oh, we need to take a break, if that's okay. I'm going to hold you for a second here, if that's okay. You're watching Ag AM in Kansas, and we'll see you in just a minute.
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center, and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
For the greenest, healthiest, weed-free lawn in your neighborhood, the Fertilome Lawn Care program is the best. Fertilome Lawn Care products provide your lawn with the exact ingredients for proper fertilization and weed prevention. Jackson's friendly staff will call you and let you know when to apply the next step. We can also do it for you, so call or stop in now.
The Fertilome Lawn Care program is still available at last year's prices, but hurry, time is limited.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Welcome back to the show, and thanks for staying with us. We're in Johnson County, and we're joined by Frank this morning. Thanks for staying with us, Frank. You guys also run a cow-calf operation. Not only do you have peaches and high tunnels and berries, but you also run a cow-calf operation, and did have pigs up until not long ago. How do you get everything done?
Some days it's tough. We do hire some help. We've got some good help. The hog operation didn't, the last 4 or 5 years, had not been profitable, so we kind of expanded into the produce. That seems to be a high demand item, especially the buy local, buy local, buy fresh movement is really starting to pick up. People are a little more interested in where their food comes from and how it's raised. So we've kind of replaced the hogs with more of the fresh produce. But we also have cow-calf operation. We farm about 700 acres of conventional corn, soybeans also. So we're rather diversified.
Frank, talking about people wanting to know where their food comes from, do you think that's just kind of part of where you're at, being in Johnson County, so close to Douglas County? And I mean, they're very involved in agriculture, the community is in Douglas County. Does it carry over into Johnson County?
I'm going to say not so much. Johnson County is, I think, maybe just attained the largest population county in the state. Very urban. That's also one of the reasons we're trying to get into more of the produce and the orchard tree fruit, is that long term in my area, I don't see large scale agriculture. We're constantly being crowded out, you might say, with the smaller little ranchettes and the development. We've got the intermodal here about 3 to 4 miles east of us. When that comes into play, that's going to take a lot of ground, typical farm ground out of production. So I think long term, if my kids want to do anything, it's going to be more in the specialty produce because you can generate a large amount of income off a small amount of space, where typical traditional agriculture crops take a large amount of space for a much smaller, per acre profit. So I think in Johnson County, this has real potential. Douglas too, any of the eastern Kansas counties, produce something that the public wants.
On not just a mass scale, but a smaller scale.
Even a small scale, yeah, it's surprising. Somebody even with, say, a 5 to 10 acres, it's entirely possible to earn a full-time living if you grow the right high-value crops on that. It really doesn't take much area to do that.
Frank, how do you get rid of the produce? I mean, if you're growing as much as I see you're capable of growing, you've got to be able to get it to consumers.
Yes, we do farmers markets. We do 5 a week. My son and I do. We go to Olathe, Overland Park. Gardner has a small market that's getting started. We also sell out at the farm here, which we're at today. We're open in July and August, usually the first half of September. We have fresh sweet corn, fresh peaches, tomatoes, raspberries, blackberries. Everything's grown right here on the farm. Most of those can be available, you pick. But at times we do sell wholesale because, as you know, with fresh produce, when you pick it, you got to get it sold right away. So it's a struggle sometimes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
What a great operation.
You bet. Thanks.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Get ready for the Kicker Country Stampede presented by Verizon Wireless, starring Jason Aldean, Trace Atkins. 4 days of camping and country music at Country Stampede, Little Big Town. The Pistol Annies featuring Ashley Monroe, Miranda Lambert, and Angelina Presley. Country Stampede. Take advantage of our current pricing. Use Easy Pay to split up your payments. Save money through April 30th with early bird pricing. More info at countrystampede.com.
I'm Dennis Tebow. My wife and I, Kathy, are the owners of Wolf Creek Cattle Company. We have grown to approximately 70 bulls.
I'm Reese Arnold. I'm the livestock manager at Wolf Creek Cattle Company. You know, these are not just like normal cattle. These cattle, they're hauled anywhere from, 8 to 10 hours a day across the United States and asked to perform. The Multi-Man 90 keeps them kind of level. It maintains and balances their system. The stress level's less when, when everything's right and working right, then they're working right.
Agri-Technology, brought to you by SureCrop, quality liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Welcome back to the show. Kelly, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We're in Manhattan at the Little Apple Brewery, and Kelly is the co-owner of this beautiful establishment.
Well, thank you.
Give us some history of this place.
Well, Little Apple Brewing Company, we started it back in 1995. It was originally open for about a year. The owners at the time decided to close it down and try to revamp it, kind of come up with a concept that probably would play a little bit better along with what they were about, which was cattle. Went through a process of phone calling, and hooked up with Galen and Lori Fink. And so we came on board in January of '95 and opened up on the 15th of April in '95.
Has it always been a brewery?
It has always been a brewery. Yes, they opened up probably at the end of '93, early '94, as a brewery and restaurant at that same time. But the owners and the partners that they had just decided that they wanted to do something just a little bit more than what was going on at the time, and that's where we came in. The
restaurant industry is a tough industry. Even in good times, it's a tough industry. How have you positioned yourself to manage through these tough economic times?
Frugality.
Frugality. That's a great word. Frugality.
I can remember when we first started off, Russ did not take a paycheck for quite some time, lived off the graciousness of credit cards, tips. And, it just, I think we had a little bit to overcome when we reopened Little Apple Brewing Company. And it probably took us a good 12 months, just to gain the confidence of the public, to get out there and market ourselves and, bring people in to, let them know what we were doing, which was turning, this place into a steakhouse and a brew house.
Well, not only does it look like a steakhouse, it kind of looks like a saloon. In a good way. I mean, you got the nice big wide plank floors, and I mean, it really kind of has an Old West type feel to it.
Right. I know that a lot of the floors were actually recycled from some old schoolhouses and barns when they originally opened the place, and that was kind of the atmosphere that they wanted to create too at the time.
Well, not only are you guys a great brew house, great steakhouse, but you're also a Beef Backer Award, National Beef Backer Award. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Kelly's husband, Russ.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the Beef Backer Award that Little Apple Brewery just won.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you in just a minute.
Agri-Technology brought to you by SureCrop, quality liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
Welcome back to the show. We're with Kelly's husband now, Russ. Thanks for joining us. We're at Little Apple Brewery, and you guys were the National Beef Backer of the Year Award. How do you get such a prestigious award? I thought I could have been the beef backer for, you know, I look like a beef backer, I'm sure, but how do you get such a prestigious award like that?
Well, first you have to enter. And that was the starting point. And this was the...
they don't give away nothing for just showing up.
That's correct,
right.
Yeah. This is the second year we actually entered the National Beef Backer Awards, which is conducted by the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. We had been a multiple-time state winner here in Kansas, and we were prompted by some friends in the industry to enter the national competition, which we did, and lo and behold, Little Apple Brewing Company in Manhattan, Kansas, we received a call last October that we were chosen as the winner of the national award for independent restaurants.
Right.
They give out 3 awards, and we got the one for the independent restaurant.
Now, how important is beef to the menu, I guess, here at Little Apple Brewery?
Well, the beef is about 60% of our menu. Of the 60 or so items that we have in the menu, over 50% of them have beef in them, and certified Angus beef. So we've always been a very beef-centric restaurant in that, and it developed a lot of items in salads and appetizers, sandwiches, and things like entrees. To have that beef on the menu. So that's a very important part of it is having a lot of beef on the menu.
Do you keep your chef kind of up to date on new techniques, new cooking styles, new cuts?
Well,
you know,
I am the chef.
Oh,
too.
you are the chef. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, you know, but I know you look at, you know, like the tri-tip is a fairly new cut.
And,
you know,
and we've been doing a lot with what they call the underutilized steak cuts, things like tri-tip, things like Terrace Major. We've been using a lot of what they call chuck flat meat, blade lifter meat. So we've really, in these times of rising beef prices, we've really looked for some of the underutilized cuts that are very flavorful and tasty when prepared properly to add on to the menu too. So yeah.
Well, you look at demand across the U.S. and you see kind of ups and downs, just like any, you know, protein that you would see. But it seems like beef demand continues to stay strong here in the state of Kansas.
Beef demand, we've never really seen in our 15 years a lessening of demand for beef, and it continues to increase all the time. And in fact, the proportion of our sales that is related to beef continues to grow as the restaurant continues to grow.
And consumer tastes have changed. Have they changed in 15 years for you guys, or are you still cooking really good ribeyes?
We're still cooking really good ribeyes, but we have broadened out, with some of these underutilized cuts, we've broadened out our repertoire of items, and we're doing a lot more ethnic type things, South American, Asian, those types of things have really come into the restaurant a lot more.
So the beef hasn't changed, but the spices certainly have come a long way.
The preparations have changed a lot. You know, you have a much more educated public out there because of things like the Food Channel and all the publications available today. So there's a bigger demand for those types of preparations and ethnic cuisines too.
Well, I invite everybody to come on down and sample the beef. I've been in several times, and I can tell you that when I bring up ribeye, I can tell you that ribeye is my favorite cut, and I've had it here, and it's a tremendous cut of meat here. So is there a website people can go and kind of learn more about you guys?
There is littleapplebrewery.com. We have our whole menu on there. There's a lot about the restaurant. We post our daily specials on there too. So there's a lot of good information on the website. We also have a Facebook page too, Little Apple Brewing Company, that also has additional information on it too.
Well, thank you for your time. It was really nice to meet you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you guys
Appreciate
got a
it.
beautiful place here.
Thank you.
Roy Fry Western Lifestyles brings the cowboy or cowgirl out in all of us. With a huge selection of must-have items, it doesn't matter if you're shopping for your horse, picking up some Western accessories to add that rustic charm to your home, or simply treating yourself. The knowledge and expertise to dress you your Western best is right here at Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, Highway 24 and Kansas Avenue in Topeka.
Golf Week calls it the best course you can play in Kansas. But once you play, you'll want to stay. Go for it. Firekeeper Golf Course at Prairie Band Casino and Resort is just north of Topeka off Highway 75. Our stay and play package is worth the trip. Luxury hotel room, green fees, and golf cart for two, starting at just $169.
Prairie Band Casino and Resort. Go for it!
Purple Wave is a proud supporter of the Kansas FFA through the Bid for Blue program. Purple Wave donates a portion of the proceeds earned on certain ag assets to the Kansas FFA. Winning bidders can designate a Kansas chapter to receive the donation. To date, Purple Wave is proud to have donated over $10,000. Visit purplewave.com to learn more and to place bids on Bid for Blue assets. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Healthy Yards, brought to you by Premier Farm and Home. Visit us online at heycow.com.
If you have a small garden area, you can make better use of your space by encouraging your vegetables to grow vertically. Training your vegetables to grow upright can also be beneficial for minimizing problems with diseases and keeps your vegetables clean and in good condition. One of the easiest things to do is to get a cattle panel and make a trellis out of it, which is what you see here are some trellises made out of a 16-foot cattle panel, cut in half and then clipped together with hog rings. Then the trellises can be set into your garden soil and the plants will be trained to grow up them. Vegetables that are great for vertical gardening are, of course, tomatoes. We can also grow cucumbers, melons, squash, or beans on a vertical system like a trellis. Cucumbers and melons can take up lots of space in the garden, so by putting them on a trellis and then supporting the fruit, you can have a smaller space used for those same crops. Pole beans are another option. In a small garden, a lot of times you can't plant enough bush beans to get a good yield. But if you plant a pole bean on a trellis, then you'll have more beans over the course of the summer than you would have otherwise had space for. If you're going to use a trellis for vertical gardening, a lot of vegetables are going to need a little bit of help to get them started climbing up the trellis. Sometimes you can do that just by guiding the tendrils of the plants to wrap around the trellis or to weave them in and out of the trellis. But sometimes, especially with things like cucumbers or melons, you need a little extra help, and that's where some clips come in. Clips or ties will help connect the vines to the trellis and support the plants as they grow up so that they start to wrap their tendrils around the trellis and then use the trellis for its support on their own.
For more information, visit your local extension office or visit our website at kansasgreenyards.org.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
We'll have lots more for you tomorrow here on Ag AM in Kansas. We're here every weekday, same time, same station. Meantime, look for us on the web at agaminkansas.com. Eric Atkinson here from K-State Research and Extension.